Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we will learn a project using HTML, CSS and JavaScript, that is progress steps. So if you haven't checked my earlier projects, that is a part, that is we are conducting a series of 50 projects in a 50 days using the HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You can check here. So moving on to these projects. These projects include three fundamental basic languages like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In this project, there will be two steps. We will create this using the two steps, like creating the basics layout using the HTML and CSS. After that, we will add JavaScript functionality in our project. See, this project is a great way to practice your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills. And it's a useful tool for displaying progress in a visually appealing way. So let's get started. Firstly, I will show you how this project works on the browser. So if you click on the next and next and next, so you can see that the progress is going to one step to another step. Also notice that if the progress is end, then the next button is disabled. If we click on the previous, if you so you can see that the previous button is disabled. So let's get starting to our coding. So let's get started with the HTML file. So you can create your own HTML, I mean the skeleton of very basic HTML file. We will add a HTMLs in our body tag, and yeah. So before going ahead, I want to let you know that so here we are using this meta tag, right? So we are using it name as a viewport. So in an interview there are a question asked like what is viewport and how you can use it for a responsive web application or web design. So you should tell the interviewer this question. So this meta tag is used for the responsiveness of the web application. So when the mobile devices with the browsers are introduced, the static pages were too large for mobile screens. To fix this, mobile devices started rendering pages in a virtual window and then shrinking the rendered result down to fit the mobile screen. The user can then zoom to access the different parts of the web pages. This was also done to prevent the website from breaking that are not mobile optimized. So that's why we are using this meta tag. Okay, and yeah, so change the title to progress steps and create a. So I will also advise you guys to do this. I mean, make your hands dirty with. Writing this code in your VS Code. So watching these videos doesn't help you. You should have to create your own project by watching my video step by steps. Okay, so this is most uh, humble advice from my side to you. So let's get started with the code. So guys, we have completed our HTML here. So you can see that we have create a class like container, the progress container. This is the progress bar, and this is the circle div. Okay, so we have created the two buttons here, next and previous. If you notice, you can notice that the class name are very human readable. You can see this is container, progress container, and this is a progress circle. You should always do a naming convention of CSS classes like in general words, so that you can I mean, this is a bad practice, like progress class or something, whatever. Like, I have seen that most of the experienced developer also given their various name to the class name that we can't identify on a code later on in a future. So that's why you should give a proper name to your class name, like progress container progress. Give an id a proper id name like progress. Why we are using this id? So this id will help to create it a dynamic in JavaScript code, right? So let's get started to our CSS code. So guys, before moving to the CSS, I would like to show you the projects in our browser. So let's see how it looks without CSS. So you can understand that without CSS, what is the life of a web developer or a developer community. So that's why the CSS is very important, right, for user experience. So let's get started with the code. Now the CSS is done. Let's see in the browser how it looks like. uh, okay, so looks like there's some problem. So we have display flex transform the HTML container progress. Okay, looks like we have wrongly implemented this HTML. You can change this HTML and keep it separate, then place here this. Let's check. Okay, not working. Oh, so let's just cut these buttons and move to the outside of the progress container. Let's see in the browser. Okay, yeah, so now you can see the progress steps looking correctly. It can't get forward or backward, previous or next. Let's get started with the JavaScripts and done it the task. So guys, before moving to the JavaScript, first we understand what we write in our CSS code, CSS file. So first we have import the Google font on a line number one. Then we have created variables. So this is a new technique. We can say that in a CSS we can create a variables like same in the JavaScript. We are using a keywords like var, const, let. We can also create a variable in CSS. We can use this variable in multiple times. Like you see in our project, we have used this in a multiple time. So second is the asterisk. So this CSS will apply to the every element in our page. So then the body we have given a background as a this color, and moving over to the height, we have given a height 100 viewport. So yeah, so mainly most of the time the interviewer asks what is the position relative and what is the position absolute. So this type of position is absolutely the most confusion and misused. What it really means, what is relative position is relative to itself. So that is position relative. Most of the time these position relative and position absolute are using both in parent and child div. So what is position absolute? This is a very powerful type of position that allows you to literally place any page element exactly where you want it. You know, so by using the position absolute, you can move around your div towards the position relative. That is why we are using the position absolute. Translate. So we are giving here a translate y. So it means that the line goes forward. Uh, so that is why we are using the translate y. So here we are using the variable, as you can see that. So the another one important property of CSS is z index. So most of the time in interview also he asks what is the z index and why we are using the z index. So z index property specifies that this stack order of an element with a greater stack order is always in the front of element with a lower stack order. You know, when you want to overlap a one div over another div, that time you have to use the z index property. So that is what we are using this circle. This is the circle. We are giving the active CSS style what it should be look when we click on that circle. The another one is a button. Here is a button style, the active button style. When we click on the button, then the active will apply this CSS. It will scale. I mean it will we have given a property of scale. And when also when we disable the button, this style will be applied. So this is a cursor not allow. You have also know the property like cursor pointer. So that is what we have written in our CSS file. And so let's move toward the JavaScript and create our projects dynamically. So let's see what we have done in our script file. So firstly we have taken the variables like progress and the variable and using the get element by id. So we are getting the element like progress and previous button, next button, and all the circles. So the main thing is that we are using it here as a get element by id. What get element by id is, it returns a reference to the first object with the specified value of the id attribute, right? So we are getting only one element. And why we are using here as a query, as a query selector all? So because we want a node list, so what is query selector? The query selector method returns all the elements that matches a particular css selector. Okay, so query selector method returns a node list. Node list in the sense, the form, the object of the node list is you can say that it's a array. So circles is an array of circle. So on line number 9, so we have written the variable current active. So when we click on the next button, this is a event listener. So what is this? Every element has a event listener, and we are giving a event listener of the button. So when we click here, when we click next, what happen? When we click on the next, so the current active variable we are incrementing that variable, it becomes 2, right? So if the current active is greater than the circles of length, the length of the that circles, then the current active we have assigning it the length of that circles, right? And and then update. So we have written the update function here. So what is the update function, we will see it later. And same logic we have applying the previous button, but here we are differentiate it by using the decrement. So this is a sign of decrement a variable. It is I mean it is similar to the, we can say that it is a syntactic sugar of -1, something kind of like this. So if the current active less than 1, then we will become the current active variable to 1, then update our updater function. So let's look what is update function is. So in update function we are getting the circles, that is a circles, the all the circles like 1 2 3 4, this is. So the if the idx is less than current active, then we are adding an active class in that particular circle. What is this? Suppose for example we are clicking a button next, then this will become a active. So if it will become active, then the css of the active class is applied to that particular circle. Same for the remove. Okay, so we are also removing that active class. After that we are getting the actives, all the actives. So right now there are, we can say that 3 active circles, 1 2 3. Okay, so these are the active circles, and we are making the width of that circle dynamically. So this is the logic of the of that I mean that functionality. So active dot length -1 divided by active circles dot length -1 into 100 plus percentage. So this is, we are concatenating the string here with this number. So we are giving the width of that circle. After that, if the current active is equal to 1, then we will apply it disable to the previous button, right? I mean the current active is equal to 1. If the current active is 1, then the previous button is disabled. Okay, and same for the current active is equal to the circles dot length. What is the circles of length is 4. So then the next become disable. So next become disable, and else, rather than this condition, in else we are becoming both the button disable. So this is the javascript we have written for that for our projects. So this is the updater function, this is important, and we are calling it here every time when we click on the on the button. So what is important in this to learn? Yes, so to learn this manipulating the classes dynamically, this is also important. This will help you in to work on the future big projects. So handling a DOM, we have learned very well the handling the document object model. What is document object model? So DOM is this. These are the document object model we are looking at here, like the buttons, the circles, and all these kind of things is DOM. And so yes, we will make the project here using. So congratulations guys, you have completed the 50 projects in 50 days HTML, CSS and JavaScript project steps tutorial. We hope you had a fun and learned a lot. Now that you have hands-on experience in building a real-world projects and have improved your web development skills, you are ready to take on new challenges and build even more exciting projects. If you enjoy this video tutorial, please consider subscribing to our channel for more web development content. Don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with your friends who are interested in web development. Thank you for watching and wish you all the best in your web development journey. Thank you so much guys.